Now, it takes a certain something, Mads, to fly solo around Australia, and it's an even greater achievement for our next guest. Dave Jacka became the first person with quadriplegia to cover that distance around this continent of ours of almost 18,000 kilometres. And if you want to do the maths by comparison, that's the equivalent of flying from Melbourne to London, done in multiple steps along the way. Quite a journey, and yeah, he's here to tell us.
It's brought me to sneezes. It's such an extraordinary journey. Dave is now telling that story in a new book titled On a Wing and a Chair. We're delighted to say that he joins us now in the studio. Dave,
welcome.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
When Greg puts those numbers in perspective, flying from Australia to London solo is a huge achievement on its own. You have quadriplegia. That makes it just extraordinary. First of all, how did you come up with the idea of this, and why was it important for you to do?
Okay, well, yeah, it's certainly a long way, and I think my main motivation to want to do it was because through my own personal life experiences of being in a chair with quadriplegia, some of you come across barriers, every single day of your life, and so most of those are physical. But some of the barriers that I've come up against has been people's perception of what they think I'm capable of with my disability. So the whole purpose of the flight was to raise the public's expectations of what people with disabilities are capable of. And so by doing the flight, I was hoping that it would provide people with more insight into what someone with disabilities can do in life, and not be, and so they're not limited by other people's perceptions.
Well, it truly was, Dave, a solo endeavour. We're seeing images of you there alone, as you would expect, on a solo journey in the Jabiru two-seater. You had support aircraft travelling with you. But just explain to us your setup in the cockpit, because reading the book sounds like there's an awful lot of strapping just to make sure that you are always there, able to do what a pilot would expect to be able to do in the cockpit.
Yeah, I had to modify the plane to suit my disability because I have no movement from armpits down, limited arm function, no finger function. So I had to modify it so I could fly it without using my feet, which normally use your rudder. So I converted that to a hand lever on my left-hand side. I steer the plane with the right, and to control the speed of the engine, I developed a sit-puff system where I have a tube in my mouth, and if I suck the tube, it throttles the engine down. Puffing the tube throttles the engine up. You just don't want to cough, that's all.
Oh, exactly.
It's not petrol you're sucking on.
The precision involved with that must have been extraordinary, to control your breath in that way.
It takes a bit of practice, like little sips and little puffs to incrementally control the revs, especially when you're taking off a landing. It has to be quite precise. But it's practice. It's sort of like tapping your head and rubbing your stomach all at the same time. It takes a fair bit of practice.
Now, any journey around a country as big as this, with so many volatile local weather systems, is always going to throw a few curveballs at you. Take us back to, I think it was your very first day as you make your way from the greater Melbourne area south to cover off the Tasmanian circumnavigation. The old heart got a bit of a kickstart that day.
It did, yeah. It was, no matter how much planning you do, you think you got everything covered, and it's the little things that can catch you out. And so, as I was crossing the Bass Strait, going from mainland Australia down over to Flinders Island, I noticed as I was getting halfway across, I noticed my oil pressure was dropping a little bit. And I didn't think too much of it because sometimes it does. And so when I landed at Flinders Island, one of the support plane pilots, Michael, came up and said, "Oh, Dave, you realise you've got oil pouring out from the bottom of your engine?" And that's when my heart just sank.
Wow.
I couldn't believe. I thought my engine was done. So and the journey's done then. But luckily it was only a small leak, and we managed to fix that. But that's when it really hit me, just how small things could catch me out. And it wasn't guaranteed that we'd actually get around the entire country.
No, and you had some pretty hairy escapes in there, it's fair to say as well. You hit one really severe patch of turbulence, which sounded like a real struggle to keep going. Just we're almost out of time, but are you still flying, Dave?
I am. I haven't done much flying since COVID, so I need to get a bit more work done on the plane, but looking at doing a lot more in the years to come.
I think there's a reason why you're not doing so much flying. Spoiler alert, we're not going to give the game away here, but you have had other adventures of a different kind since this solo flight around Australia. Is that the subject of a future book?
It is. So I did paddle the Murray in 2016, which is 2,226 kilometres over 89 days. So that is my third book that will be coming out in a year or two. You're
unstoppable, Dave. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing us with that book. The book is On a Wing and a Chair, and it's available now. Dave Jacka, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.